I'm here today interviewing my grandpa, Paul Glenn, for World War II because I've always been interested in the subject and I've wanted to know more about it. Okay, so how long did you serve in World War II?
4 years.
And how old were you when you went into the war?
Let's see, 18, 20, 22, about 22 years.
You were 22 years old, and then when you came out, you were about 26.
Yeah.
And then which branch of the service were you in?
In the Navy.
And what did you have to do in the war?
I was a mail clerk. I was a storekeeper clerk when I went in. And then in my unit, I was the mail clerk, and then I stayed on at the training station in San Diego and worked in the post office and for about a year. And then I went overseas with a unit which whose final purpose was to set up a port authority in Rabaul, which the Japanese had, and was a fighting station. Really had a lot of planes and sort of controlled that whole area. And so we staged up from New Caledonia all the way to Green Island, going through Guadalcanal and Tulagi and all those Solomon Islands. All in all, I was there about 2 years. The war ended and we never had to take Rabaul. We took some islands on the way up, had a little fighting.
Okay. And so you were stationed in the South Pacific area, sort of?
That's exactly right.
Okay. And so, what did you do, on a normal daily routine? Or, on a normal day, what would you be doing?
Well, we had I believe it was 180 people in our unit. And I was head of the post office. And there was no regular mail service in or out, so I spent a lot of time trying to determine when and if any mail was coming in, and if and when I could get mail out.
So
that sounds like a rather routine kind of thing, but it was anything but that.
And so, what kind of meals did you get every day?
Kind of meals?
Yes.
We got pretty good meals. Sort of as an aside, we carried over a shipload of beer. And with a shipload of beer, you can exchange that for a lot of things. So we got a lot of stuff from Australia and New Zealand, and we had reefers, refrigeration, and we each got a beer each day.
Okay. So how did you contact people at home at all?
You got free mail, and you could write letters.
So you could send letters in and out?
Yeah, that's what my job was, to get them in and out.
Was it frequently? Did you were you able to get letters frequently?
A lot of people did, you know, they had sweethearts and wives and things that would almost write to them every day. And we may go a month and not get any mail. And we may get mail a couple of times a week for a while.
So was there like one thing that everybody looked forward to every day or at any point?
Well, getting mail was a pretty big deal with everybody. Everybody wanted mail from home and packages and cookies and, you know, things. I might give you a few incidents that happened. Once we took this island and we had set up camp about a mile and a half away from where they were building an airport. And the airport got barely usable, but they were still working on it. And one day I'd walked up there to see if any mail was coming in and, you know, what's the chances of getting something out. And I was walking along where they were building the airport still, and it was like a bulldozer or a grader or something, and it had a man riding shotgun on it with a rifle. And I was walking along, not paying too much attention, and all of a sudden I heard this gun go off. And I looked around, and all of a sudden this Japanese was shot out of a tree right above me and fell at my feet. So it was, you know, maybe in like a postal man, but it was not all that easy. And I used to go and write money orders for a PT boat unit, which was about 50 miles away. They would come get me in a PT boat, and I would go over and write money orders for them because they didn't have a postal service themselves. I'd come back at night with a bag full of money, and you know, things like that went on sort of all the time.
So did you see a lot of fighting during your time in the service?
I wouldn't say a lot. I would say some, you know. Those islands that you wanted to take all the way up didn't just present themselves to you. You had to take them, most of them.
And what would you say was the most exciting thing that happened while you were in the war?
Well, I used to, I had I located a friend who was in the Marine Air Corps, and they used to bomb Rabaul and surrounding areas. And when I had a chance, I would ride with them just for the fun of it. And for the most part, there would be 3 planes, and one of the planes would have a bombardier in the front, and the other 2 didn't, so I could ride in one of those spots. And if it was a low altitude fight, they let me shoot the guns. If it was a high altitude, of course it couldn't. One day, I was going to go on a flight, and for some reason that morning I didn't make it. And my friend, of course, did. They went over, I think, with 18 planes or so. About half of them got shot by Japanese gunfire from the ground. Sometimes they would show real fight, and other times they wouldn't. This time in the plane I was going to ride in, the tail gunner was killed. My friend got shrapnel all in his chest. The plane had about 150 holes in it, landed without any wheels. I thanked somebody for not letting me go on that thing. So that was one of the most exciting things.
Okay, well, thank you very much.